What is up, everybody? Andrew Cooper here, and guess what? It is the Friday show. That means we've already done waivers, we've already done start sits, we've already done all the boring stuff. This week, what we do, we have on people I like. We have on my friends, and we do whatever we want. Usually make an FFPC lineup, and we will hit on some of your questions. So let me bring her on here. Kendall Valenzuela from MV Fantasy, Sirius XM. She's all over the place. What's happening, Kendall?
How's it going? I know I'm like, it's Friday. You were like, here's a show sheet. We're just going to go through it though. And it's just going to be a vibe. And so I'm so excited to be here finally with you.
Yes,
Pumped.
we got the right date. We got the date set up. And it turns out to be a very important one for a lot of people in fantasy football playoffs. Maybe the most important one. I just feel like championship, you're already like, whatever happens, happens. This week, you need to prove yourself. That's where it's at. So thank you everybody for popping in the chat. We see you, Rob, Mojo. We're definitely going to hit on some questions. We will hit on, if you could do us a favor and ask your questions as we're talking about the particular teams, that would help us. It help us help you. But since you guys are in here bright and early right away, why don't we hit these ones just to kick it off real quick?
Let's do it.
Russell Wilson or Anthony Richardson? Rob wants to know.
I'd say Anthony Richardson. I know Russ, and I know them going up against the Ravens. I think they give up the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks right now. And I think though their defense has gotten a little bit better over the last few weeks. So I love Russ and I love that what he's accomplished, but it's still, for me, it doesn't look like George Pickens is going to go this week. I haven't seen, I had my morning coffee already. I'm Pacific time, so I haven't checked in on all of the updates, but it looks like he's not going to be there, which does make me downgrade him. So he's more like QB 19 range. And I think Anthony Richardson, while he's pretty, up and down, I still think he's got like QB 15 in him for rankings range. So I would go Richardson just with the upside there.
Exactly. I think the big difference maker is George Pickens, right? Because this offense, they rotate everybody except George Pickens. And when he's not in there, it's Van Jefferson. It's just not nearly as exciting. Exactly. Mojo wants to know Kincaid, Strange, or Kelsey for tight end in a standard league.
None. Just leave it. Just leave it open. We don't need to do this.
The negative. I mean, how crazy is it that this is a legitimate question that has Travis Kelsey and Brenton Strange in it? What has happened?
I know this is our life right now, first of all. And I understand it too. And I think you mentioned it at the top of the show, like this week is pivotal. And I do it myself too. Like I try not to get too cute. I know we're going to talk about like running backs and stuff, but I had, going through running back questions yesterday, and it was like, man, are we starting Kendre Miller? Is that really where we're going in a pivotal week to get to the play or to get to the championship? So here it sounds kind of gross. I would still go with Kelsey because it's Travis Kelsey, even in standard. I'm looking through rankings. Tight end, he is outside the top 10 this week, especially in standard scoring. So tight end 12. But again, we get into streamer range so quickly with this. So I would say if you're confident in your team, maybe you are, looking at it and you're looking at the projections and you're just a winner already, like you're already up on the points, then you could go with Kelsey. If you need upside though, like I don't mind going for upside with a Kincaid or a Strange, probably Kincaid at that point, but you don't want to look back and say, wow, I can't believe, I tried to get cute and I put Brenton Strange in my lineup instead of a Travis Kelsey. Like that's where we're at.
You put it exactly how I feel about it. Like I'm not going to sit here and stare at the ceiling for 250 days because I started Brenton Strange over Travis Kelsey.
Exactly. Right? But that's like where we're at. I understand the question too. It's been so gross. Travis Kelsey has been not good for fantasy, and then he's going to get to the playoffs and they're going to totally open up the playbook for him and everything, just like last year. I can feel it.
Jerry sums it up here. Strange year. It's been a Brenton Strange year. So yes. Yeah. All right, here's what we're doing today, folks. We're going to go through all the matchups. There's a full slate, and we got to get out of here before 2 o'clock, so we're going to try and speed through and get it all done. What we're doing is we're making an FFPC lineup. If you want to play with us, go to myffpc.com, use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. And basically the way it works is this. No draft, no salary. You can use anybody you want with the exception no players from the same team, which is kind of a double-edged sword because it makes for very difficult decisions with the really good teams, with a lot of good players, but you can't just get murdered by one team that has the right stack and you don't have it. There's no stacking. So kind of cool. Have you ever played this one, Kendall?
Yeah, I have not very often, but I've done it a couple times with Peter Overzet. So it's good. Not very good on it, but
Rocks,
we'll
man.
break
He's a
down the importance.
yeah. I enjoy listening to your shows, I have to say. I think I've
Oh, thank you.
said that. Yeah. I try and catch it during the week, but I always listen on Sunday morning. I like to
It's
hear what
so
you got to
fun.
say. And
Yeah, it's fun.
you're a saint for dealing with Adam Ronis every day.
That's what everyone tells me. I know, Adam, if you hear this, everyone gives me, sympathy. So it's just, it's what you have to do to be in this industry. No, I'm kidding. Adam's
You
the
you
best.
know
We're
why you know
so
why
good.
everyone does that? Because Adam Ronis is, like, the best at talking trash, but also taking it. That and
He
and
is.
that is my favorite. That's my
He
favorite
is.
type of person to play fantasy with because he'll talk trash, he'll grouch and mope, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he's a very sharp gamer and he's a great dude, and he
Thank
laughs.
goodness. Yeah.
Yeah,
And thank goodness
exactly.
the Mets were good this year, by the way, or else he
Uh,
would have just been grumpy the whole season because he's a Cowboys fan. So thank goodness he had something else to look forward
I
to
it
with his Mets.
For real, it's like, with between him and Howard Bender with the Yankees, it's like if
Oh,
any of
gee.
these New York teams struggle, it's a long summer. It's a very long summer. I used to work with
Incredible.
Adam at Fantasy Alarm, and it's
Oh,
those
man.
2, man.
You
So,
get
all right,
it. You
let's
get it.
dive into yeah, exactly. And Gene does a great job too. Shout
Oh,
out
I
Gene.
love
I don't wanna
Gene.
I don't
Gene
want
is
to leave him
awesome.
out here. Yeah, you
No,
guys
if
rock
if
him
you
out.
haven't been following Gene Clemens, he's incredible. He does a lot of writing for us too at fantasylife.com. So at Gene Clemens on Twitter, he's been amazing. So glad that we got him this year.
Yeah, Coach Gene, he's a great guy. All right,
Coach.
let's get into it. First one here, very surprising at this time of year because you would think, like, in September, we would have circled Texans Chiefs and said, hey, you know what, 55-point over under maybe for a game like that. The over
hmm
under is 41.5. Chiefs are favored by 3.5. Let's start on the Texan side. If you were going to use a Texan or add a couple to the board, who would you consider? And here's the thing we do. Rich Rebar started doing this. If there's a player you like that we still might not use in this format, but you want to give them a shout out and give them credit, you can put people on the board out of respect. So you can be like, hey, you know what? I don't really like Joe Mixon this week, but out of respect, we got to put him up there. So you can do
Yeah.
whatever you want in terms of
All
that.
right. Well, I will say we can start with Joe Mixon. I feel like that's the biggest one here. And I know that he's a little bit banged up. He popped up on the practice report, whatever that was, I think Wednesday with an ankle, maybe. So looking at this one last week, I know it wasn't fun. You got like 10.6 fantasy points out of him, which hand up is what you didn't need. And that's what I did too. I, played him everywhere because, and same with Derrick Henry, same with Saquon Barkley, who we're going to talk about here. But I
Same with
just,
Devon Achan, same with
oh
all of them.
my
I
gosh, same with
all
all of
my
them.
teams
It's
got
like, hey,
crushed.
how about the whole season? We ride them all the way there, and then the first week they're like, you know what, you can try and do it with like Tank Dell. It's bad. So he's been downgraded a little bit more, but still like low end RB1 status. I think that they need him. I mean, this
Yes.
Texans team, if we remember their ADP, they were the most expensive team to draft on Underdog in the offseason, which still blows my mind because now we look back at it and CJ Stroud has taken a step back. It's big when you lose Nico Collins for that long. It's big when you lose Stephon Diggs for the whole season. So I understand, and their line isn't that good. I mean, he's getting a lot of pressure, but I still think putting Joe Mixon up there, it's a tough, just to shout him out. I know the Chiefs are tough against running backs as well, but
Mm,
between him and probably a Nico Collins, like I don't on the Texans side necessarily want to be playing a CJ Stroud. He just has, especially for fantasy, if you've been looking at him,
right.
you probably stopped playing him after week 7, 8. You kind of figured it out and said, you know what, he's not going to give me what I want. You could have gone to the waiver wire and gotten a Baker Mayfield, and he has been
Right.
crushing it for you this year. So I do, Mixon is interesting to me because I know, on some of the other websites that we go to, he'll be a little bit cheaper because he just, didn't put up a huge game last week. But also Nico Collins is going to be
Right.
Nico Collins.
Exactly. And on the sheet here, folks, for if you're just joining us for the first time, we have the over under and the spread, and then the implied point total just based on the math is like what they're suggesting. And the
Mhm.
Texans at 19-point implied points, we don't necessarily have to have a Texan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we have a lot of games to get through here. One quick question I saw in the chat. Is that a Arizona State shirt
Oh,
there?
it is. Whoever shouted, yes, Greg.
But then he said
ASU.
poor
You
girl.
know
He's
what,
talking
Greg, though?
trash.
They're going to the Peach Bowl. And you know what? Let me just tell you this. I went to Arizona State and we didn't get to celebrate, especially for football. So let me have this moment where we're going to the Peach Bowl. We are so excited. And
Yes.
we might not be back there again, but that's okay. We're going to go. We're going to have a great time. So yes, shout out ASU. We're good.
Shout
We're
out. And
all A's.
Greg, he likes to
I
talk
love
his trash
Greg.
too, but
Oh, that's okay. I love that.
he's a hater. But you know what? But
No,
he jokes around with us, which is great.
love it. Shout out
Chiefs
Greg.
Chiefs side. Anybody from the Chiefs?
Dude, can we say no?
Yes,
Can we say no
absolutely.
one? I mean, like I
Let me tell you this, Kendall. With our time constraints today, we both got a hard out here. There's gonna be a lot of no's. There's gonna be a lot of flat
it
out no's.
might be I mean, do you, Andrew? I mean, I'm looking at this Chiefs team. I don't, you haven't probably started Patrick Mahomes in one quarterback leagues like
Couldn't.
for, like the last 10 weeks. You say no. Isaiah Pacheco, it looked like they turned it into a three-way committee last week, which was gross. We just talked about Travis Kelce. I know Xavier Worthy had a bigger week last week. They're getting Hollywood Brown back. I've gotten some start-sit questions with DeAndre Hopkins, but I almost just want to say no and watch this be the week that they say, oh, you know what, we're gonna blow out the Texans and really show who we are and win by more than 13 points in a game. But I don't want to mess with them.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cold. I mean, I'm not interested. And again, this is tight end premium, and we're still not looking at Kelce. So forget him. Let's move on to the next one here. 44.5-point over under. Ravens favored by 6.5 against the Steelers, the team of destiny. Anybody on the Steelers here?
Dude, and you tell me, because I'm
I don't
looking,
think so.
what it'd be Najee, and that's it. And even
Right.
Najee, I mean, he did not last week. It was not good. I almost want to say no to this. If Russ was in there, if George Pickens was in there, it'd be a little bit different. Where I'd say, you know what, I think they have some upside, but we downgraded him like high end RB3 Najee this week. So for fantasy purposes too, you might have some better options there.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, with tight end premium, that really boosts up the target hog guys. That's not Pat Frymouth. Even with George Pickens out, like he's
Yeah.
really the targets haven't been juiced. Like you're not seeing, like I would be kind of shocked if he had like a 10, 11 target game. And that's what we need in this format. So not going there either. I'm with you. No
Yeah.
Steelers. Maybe we'll circle back because we have to start a kicker in defense, maybe like Boswell or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Not bad.
Raven side though,
I
25.5 point implied point total, which quick scroll tells me is top 5 for this
I
week.
was
So
gonna say it's
we're
definitely
gonna
the
need to
highest.
have Ravens. Yeah.
We can shout out Derrick Henry here. That's an easy one. I even Lamar Jackson. I mean, where it gets interesting is with the receivers, because
Right.
you have a Zay Flowers, you could have a Rashad Bateman. The boom bust season kind of lives on. So what, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns on Sundays, found the end zone 7 of 14 games this year. So definitely boom or bust with him though. I know I played last week. I try to not check my scores like regularly. And so I saw, oh, Lamar Jackson's going off. Oh my gosh, he's got 4 touchdowns. I'm sure Zay Flowers is one of those guys because he's everywhere on my teams. And then I look and I'm like, I want to go to the roof. Like, this is insane.
I never check them. I never check the scores till
Dude,
right before the Monday night game. I do.
You
Sorry,
are
the Sunday
way
game.
better
The
than
Sunday
you're
game.
way better than me. I check every like 20 minutes. I know and it's horrible. And yes, it does like go out. But
Well, here's the thing. I'm in so many leagues that I have like every player. So if you don't check, I don't even look at who I'm playing going into the week because I want
wow.
it's all high fives from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's every touchdown for me is a high five. Yes, I have that guy somewhere.
True.
There's like a handful of guys where I don't have, and then I'm like, but like it's all fun and games. And then I check it before the Sunday night game, and I'm like, wow, I got killed today. But up until that point, it's all fun. I recommend doing that. And then just checking the sweats on Sunday night, the sweats on Monday night, where it's like, okay, here's the list of guys I'm rooting for or against. That's the way I like to play it. But I can't do it. If I look at 1 o'clock and then I see that I have Jamar Chase in one league, but I'm going against him in 7, it just ruins the fun.
Fair enough.
I'd rather just know I have Jamar Chase in one spot and just be oblivious to who else everyone else has.
Oh man. But I would, Zay Flowers here and then Mark Andrews. Like, we're gonna have so many players that we can circle back to, but
let's put them all in.
Let's put them all in. I know,
out of respect to the fantasy gods.
And I think Bateman's banged up a little bit too. I haven't checked his status this morning, but I think he was banged up after last week's game too.
Yeah. Next game here, we got Browns Bengals. We had a question from our guy Brunch in the chat. Folks, again, it helps us out if you ask questions when we're talking about the particular games because it helps the flow of the show. And we got to keep this show flowing because we're already 15 minutes in. We're only 2 games in. We got to get it rocking. Will the Browns get a first down this week? Good question. Jerome Ford was my play of Najee until the QB change. You got to go Najee over Ford, right?
Yeah, it's pretty gross, but yeah, you do. DTR, by the way, I was trying to find any way because I really felt like maybe I was overdoing it on Serious with Adam, and we were kind of just looking at all the negatives with DTR going in as their quarterback this week. And I was trying to find a way to make Jerry Jeudy more appealing because really, I mean, we were getting these start sit questions with Judy, and I was like, man, I think I'm benching him in a lot of places. But we looked back at DTR's numbers too. It's horrible. Like any way you look at it, even if you're trying to find the silver lining, there really isn't one. So could he go out there and maybe surprise us? Sure. But when you have all the stats that we do from the last few starts that we have him with, and then you compare him to all these other quarterback starts, it's really bad. It's pretty horrible. So there's no way to look at it to make it better.
I could see a situation where, when the starting running back gets benched because he fumbles a bunch, like Ramondre Stevenson fumbles a bunch, and then they put in Antonio Gibson, and after like a quarter, they're like, okay, that's enough, right? Like I could see, because like Jameis Winston's being benched because he keeps throwing picks, but I could see them being like, all right, we've punished him enough. Let's just put him back in there.
But that's what makes me nervous. That's someone, I think it was Gene or maybe Ian brought it up, like, oh, maybe they're just going to go back to Jameis in that game. And I'm like, yes, but we can't. Do you see that?
If you're going to punish a guy, for throwing interceptions, you're going to have to probably punish.
I also just don't think they want to. I don't think they want to win though, and I think that they know that DTR is going to give them the chance to get the best draft pick available. But it is really bad. I think his yards per attempt is 3.7, which is 64th in the league with starting quarterbacks, like 64 quarterbacks compared to. So yeah. I do like Jerome Ford in some spots if it's really tough.
But like because there are bad teams that are splitting, and he's probably not going to split. So like that's the world, but not in a format like this.
No.
Bengals here 27.5. Believe it or not, that's not the highest implied point total this week. Third highest. There's a couple here, Bills and Packers, because we got 14-point spreads. Kendall.
Yeah,
so
that's what, fair enough. Fair enough.
So we got some games that are crazy. We're gonna have to have a Bengal in here. I mean, the names seem obvious here. So let me skip right to the point. Right, T. Higgins banged up. So Jamar Chase is on the board. Also, Chase Brown's on the board. So the question is, do we consider Joe Burrow, or do we just pick one of those two guys?
I'd say we can pick between those two because I feel like we'll have better quarterbacks to look through, right? And we know too, Chase Brown has just been phenomenal. It took a while, but like finally everything started happening. So I think we can pick between those two.
Good. Let's move on. Next game here.
Look at us go.
See, that's called time saving right there. That's that's a little. I know you do some hosting yourself. I'm not actually much of a host.
Efficient.
You host way more than me. I only host when Howard's out, which
I know this is fun though. I don't know. I might call you in. You could host it. This is nice.
Being a guest is fun, right? Yeah.
Like
let me do some host stuff here. You know what, Kendall? Very cool thing that the viewers might not know. You were once a Mariners ball girl.
Oh yes.
Will you tell us how cool was that?
Dude, it was the best. It was so fun. I love baseball. So baseball, cool. Soft spot in my heart, right? It's it's football and then it's baseball, but getting paid to sit out there and watch all those games, and they sucked, by the way. Like, if Greg's coming back on and tell me they suck, like, Greg, I know it's horrible. All right. We can't have anything nice with the Mariners, but it was so fun. It was I always say, I'm like, I peaked there. Like that was nice. It was the best high school job ever.
They were bad, but you got to see Felix Hernandez, right? King Felix?
Yes. Yeah. He was there. Yeah, I did get to see him. That was cool. And I was so close to getting that game where he threw the perfect game. I was like a week away from being able to get that one, and I didn't. And I was like, oh man, because it was a day game and I didn't like doing day games, but it was awesome. Right. Best job ever. Besides this one. Sick. Best job ever.
That's awesome. See, I can host.
There we go. Yeah, look, you know your stuff. We know you can host, please.
Well, yeah, I'm hosting. I'm running the show here. All right, here we go. Titans Colts 42.5 over under, so it's a low one here. On the Titans side, Mason Rudolph is the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think it's a downgrade though. Do you? With them going from Will Levis to, I think it's just holding everyone steady.
Very lateral.
Yeah. I'm not going to be one to sit here and say like Nick Westbrook Akine either. So maybe a Ridley, Tajay Spears is interesting, but I think we can go.
I think when we get to the end here and the question, we can only start like 4 or 5 wide receivers. Mm-hmm. Ridley's just not going to be on the table for us.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Tony Pollard banged up. We saw what Tajay Spears was able to do without him, but we don't have to do this, right?
We shouldn't. On the Colts, we shouldn't. Like, no. I'm glad you mentioned Calvin Ridley's name. That's the extent of that with the discussion.
I'm thinking fantasy, but I'm like, for this purpose.
Right. Once we get to the end and we look at it, we're gonna be like, of course not. So I've done enough of these to know how it goes. On the Colts side, though, Colts maybe also probably not. Jonathan Taylor's been
Not
disappointing.
good.
Yeah, not
Not
good. Not good.
good.
Not good enough for this. Not good enough for
Not good
this.
enough for this. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking. I don't Michael
nobody.
Pittman, there's no
I
chance.
say
I
we can
don't think
skip.
there's
We can
yeah.
completely skip the game. It's a
Mhm.
42.5 point over under. Let's go right to the next one
Yeah.
here. Let's hit a couple questions in the chat.
Yeah.
If it was your team, Kendre Miller or Ray Davis in the field?
I would say Kendre,
Yeah,
only because of the volume. And I understand Ray Davis, and I still think that they, last week they just went crazy, right? Even Ty Johnson was in on it, and I know it was revenge game for him, but I don't know if they necessarily do that again this week. So I would say Kendre Miller for the volume. It's pretty bad, though. I
got it.
understand. But yeah, I'd say Kendre.
Brute force volume. Rod wants to know pick
Ooh.
3: Bucky, Rashad White, Jalen McMillan, Kenneth Walker if he goes, Kendre Miller,
Hmm.
Josh Downs. Let me get the latest on Kenneth Walker, but hit me with a couple of those guys.
Yeah, I like, between the two, Bucky, Rashad White, I'd still go Bucky for fantasy purposes there. I'm starting him in a couple. Do you agree with that? With between him and Rashad White? I've gotten a couple people that
Yes,
have been
he's just been
those.
better. He's played
He's
better.
better. I
If it
know
was
people are
full PPR, maybe Rashad White, but
yeah.
he's flat
I
out played
know
better. Just like Chase Brown versus Zach Moss early on, just like
yeah.
Tank Bigsby versus Travis Etienne. And again, I'm not a super big like eye test guy, but
Mhm.
we all watch the game. I mean,
And
like
I understand people get
he
nervous with the injury, and I'm like, we just can't plan for it. Like you don't want to not put him out there because worried about the back. So I would go Bucky there. You know what? I love Jalen McMillan, especially out of this group. So I would go Jalen McMillan. I know 20 plus fantasy points the last 2 weeks, and he
yeah,
is the number one guy on that team. You can see it in the route participation, everything like it. If Kenneth Walker is good to go,
he's
which it
playing.
looks like he's
Yeah.
good, so
Yep.
I would
Oh,
go
that's good.
Walker here. I know that's a little bit nervous, but that's
Lock it
where I would
down.
go.
I'm in. Yeah.
Lock
Let's
it
let's
up.
lock down one in because he's a full participant and he's
Love
been
it.
he's been great when he's in there. And when he's not in there, Zach Charbonnet's been great. So
Dude, he's been awesome.
awesome. All right. Eagles at Commanders here, 45.5 point over under. There are some players in here.
There's a lot.
AJ Brown kind of popped up on the injury report, which makes me nervous, but he's back at practice. So
Okay.
let's throw some Eagles names in there.
Well, I think we have to throw in Jalen Hurts. I think
Play the hits,
like
Kendall. Play
play
the
the hits.
hits.
This is the breaking analysis that you guys wanted. Just us sitting here saying play Jalen Hurts
No,
this
that's
week.
this
You're like,
show though, because
no,
for
I
those
love it.
for those that maybe joined us late, what we're doing is we're pulling all the very top options from every game, top matchups, maybe get a little different, but what you do at
Mhm.
FFPC is you can make a lineup, no salary, no draft, just can't start two players from the same team. So we're kind of taking the
Awesome.
chalk, pulling out the bad chalk and starting the good chalk. That's the way it goes. If you want to play over there, use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. So
Nice.
Hurts in there, Brown in there.
Brown in there.
Bar-
Barkley, yeah, in there. That's it there. And then Commanders. I still think it's good to bring up Jaden Daniels. I don't think when we get back to it that he'll be like the guy that we go for, but he is on fantasylife.com. He is a top 5 play this week,
Right?
consensus ranking. So I think good enough to definitely put in there. I think, Terry McLaurin, we could. I at the end of the day, though, I don't think when we look through some of these receivers
Yeah.
that we'll say Terry, but definitely still an option. And I don't like. I mean, there's better options than Zach Ertz at tight end too. Running back, I think, is same
We'll
same
put
thing. I do like
McLaurin in.
Brian Robinson,
Yeah,
but
it's not a great matchup for McLaurin, but we got to put his name in
no
there out of respect because he's been
respect.
playing well. Yeah,
He has
out of
been.
respect. Next one, yeah, right. Like that's kind of how we do it.
I like
I
it.
feel like we're almost like trying to appease the fantasy gods with some of the names in there. Just like, okay, we had him
Yeah,
we
no,
had him in there. Okay, you don't have to smite us, right? So we can, and then we won't put him in the line.
exactly. No,
Yeah,
be
let
nice
me
to them.
just check see if we had any questions on that game. But well, here's just one question because we'll do
Hmm.
Michael's because he said nice things about us.
Oh,
Kendall and
Michael,
Coop,
love
two
Michael.
of the best. So that's an easy way to get your question answered on the show.
Exactly.
Tight end premium, which is this format. Need one flex. D Hop, Strange, Pollard, or Tillman.
Mm,
Yeah, D
yuck.
Hop is just not playing a huge snap share.
No. No, tight end premium too makes Strange a little bit more interesting, but I think if Pollard's good to go, I would roll with Pollard there. I don't like Tillman. I just don't. If it's not Jerry Judy, I'm just trying not to go there. And again, if DTR goes off, I will, overreaction Monday, say my apologies, but I just don't. I just don't think it's there. I do like the volume that Strange got with the 11. I think it was 11. 11 targets last week or something like that. So I like to play it safe. I would go Pollard there, but I do understand the strange
Yeah,
question.
right, exactly. It's like the tight end premium makes it a lot closer than it should be, but you
Mhm.
should start Pollard against the Colts.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
the bottom line because it's a volume thing. Not to mention Brenton Strange, I think good player, good
Mhm.
matchup. Got a banged up shoulder. Also, you got to keep in mind Mac Jones threw 47 times last week. That's uh,
It's
not
hard to
normal.
do that.
Not
You're
normal.
not gonna
Yeah.
get that every single week.
Go look at Cole Kmet's game log, right? In the games, he got 11 targets. Well, guess what? Everybody did because they threw 47 times, 50 times. So just be very careful.
Exactly.
Be very careful. That's all.
Exactly.
He's also got a bit of a shoulder, AC joint shoulder situation
Mhm.
going on. So I'm just trying to bring us back to reality a bit.
Yeah.
And Dunn says hello, upgrade over
Hello.
Howard. You know how legendary Howard Bender, but I
We
have to
love
say
Howard.
we do plenty of shows with Howard. That's why Friday, no Howard on Friday.
Howard
Friday
gets
we
the
have
day off.
yes, Howard gets the day off. We bring in the friends. Okay, Rams Jets 46.5 3-point spread. I think on both sides there's potential here because
I do too.
as much as the negativity surrounding the Jets. I mean, Rodgers is just throwing the ball to two dudes, right? So it's
Yeah.
like that's great for fantasy. So let's start with the Jet side.
Uh, okay. I think because of it, I think we have to put both Devontae and just to look, just to appease the fantasy gods. But I think
Right.
Adams Wilson, it just seems like if Aaron Rodgers is going to go down, he's going to go down swinging. And with that, that has brought over Devontae Adams and just their pure connection that we saw in Green Bay. So I like those two a lot.
Yep, for sure. And again, they're now all of a sudden auditioning to stay in the league, him and Adams. So I'm sure they're going to make sure that they look good, right? Like it's
Exactly.
yeah.
He's
One
bringing
week
it
he
wherever he
says
goes.
he is such a like. One week he says, "Oh, I'm going to destroy the Jaguars or I'll quit," and then he destroys the Jaguars, and then the very next day he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to play anyway." I'm like, "You just shut up,
I
please." Like,
know.
yes,
He's Aaron Rodgers.
he is. Yeah, all time great, Aaron Rodgers. Rams
Um,
side. There's names here
mm,
for sure. I don't like.
there are
We're going to use a mobile quarterback, so
yeah,
no
we're not.
Stafford or
Sorry,
Rodgers.
Stafford.
Uh,
I think we have to put like Cup, Puka, like maybe a little slash there, and then Kyron
Slashes,
as well.
Kyron,
Because it's
yeah.
Kyron, even though Kyron, up and down a little bit for fantasy managers, but I think that's the way to go.
His snap share is the one reason where you just can't bench him because he
Yeah.
plays the whole game.
No.
Nobody
Yeah.
does that. Nobody's doing that. So you got to have him in
We had the
consideration.
stretch where he was scoring a touchdown every single game too, and then it kind of just abruptly came to an end. But he's still a top play. Like he's still top 10.
Yeah. So the line on this one has since changed. For
Oh,
this has me double. I was double checked. Listen to this,
what?
Kendall. I was double checking because I thought 8.5 was high. I was like, is that wrong? A rookie quarterback is favored by 8.5, and then I went and checked it, and it's now 10. So I don't know, dude.
Maybe
No,
they know something we don't,
yeah.
obviously, because
Lem-
I and we can start with it. We can start with the Falcons because I'm curious what you think from this game perspective. I do think it's an upgrade, or at least hold steady because it was so bad with Kirk Cousins. Like they couldn't get anything going. And I think it's really a testament to Drake London and how well he's played this season because he's been playing with nothing essentially. And so I think they can open up the playbook and I think it elevates everyone's floor a little bit. Like you can expect a little bit more from Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney had zeros for you last week, so here's hoping he could do better. Now in this game, I don't know if we're going to look at Drake London as a wide receiver and say, yeah, we want to play him, but we could put his name there just for fun. But I
yeah,
don't
we'll
know.
put it in their respect. I mean,
Respect.
the guy's been making lemonade out of lemons for a while. Last year, led the league in contested catches. Didn't have 1,000 yards. Like talk about doing it the hard way, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know. I would love to see a quarterback come in and just throw the ball to
wouldn't it
just
be
London and
awesome?
Pitts. That'd be nice. But yeah, I mean, got to put Bijan's name in there
Oh
too.
yeah, Bijan,
Bijan's
absolutely.
yeah. And then on the Giants side, I'm gonna say no, buddy. We did have a Giants
No.
question though
Okay.
from All Morphle says Devonta Smith or Tracy in a full PPR.
Ooh, I would hang on. Let me check these numbers because
Check
my
check it.
my first reaction would be Devonte Smith.
I kind of like Devonta Smith this week. I think that
Um,
it's the Commanders with St.
Tracy got
Juice, right?
Tracy got vultured at the goal line too last week. That was the other thing where
Yeah.
you did not see him score, which when that happens to me, especially because I've got Tracy in a lot of places. So I was like, Dang, that sucks for that week. So I would go Devontae Smith here.
That's what happens sometimes when you fumble. That's what happens
That's
when you
true.
fumble the
You gotta
ball. They put in the old wily vet and say, "Hey, we need
yeah.
you to punch it in."
Yeah,
And
I like Smith here.
yeah, so go Smith. I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I love Tracy in Dynasty. I think that this is
Oh, yes.
right. You're in. I think this is a
I'm
guy.
in. I'm
Like
in.
I am hesitant to say Alvin Kamara, but I just said his name for a reason. So
Yeah,
I
no, I
do
like
very
yeah.
exciting player. I love the converted wide receiver type when it pans out, because like it's so much easier to come from that pass catching side and then earn the full role than it is to be somebody like Jordan Howard and try and learn how to catch the ball. Like
Yeah,
it's not a skill you can just figure out. Jeremy
and
Hill, Jordan Howard, Alfred Morris, like it's very rare the guy just all of a sudden goes in one offseason, buys a jug machine, and then shows up and he's like, I'm Brees Hall now. Like it's
he's
just
like, "I'm ready to go." And
right.
I think, for as much, the Giants are bad. Let's be totally honest here. Their drafts though, I mean, haven't been
They're good.
terrible where they
Yeah.
actually, have some pieces there for the future. Of course, the Daniel Jones thing's, not great, but I do like Tracy for the future. I think, when he went down in training camp, I was like, "No, I had already drafted so much of him." So he's had a good season. He's got some fumbling
It
issues.
it it makes you wonder because Evan Engram leaves and he gets 150 targets, and then Saquon Barkley leaves and he's like in the MVP conversation.
Mhm.
Makes you wonder what the problem is if it's not the players, Kendall.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if I could
know.
say that one any
I
clearer.
know. I know.
It's you're a fan because that's the worst because the one thing that the guy that can't be fired is the owner.
Yep,
But,
exactly.
like, it comes from the top down with a lot of these teams. There's a reason that some of these teams get it done with, like, nothing. Like, the Steelers, I feel like you give Mike Tomlin a high school team, he'll win 8 games,
He's
but, like
incredible.
incredible, but some of these teams, they just can't figure it out, even if they have
Yep,
Saquon Barkley.
yeah.
So, alright, next one here, Cardinals-Panthers, 46.5-point over under, 3.5-point spread. This game is, on the table for fantasy for sure. Cardinals side?
Trey McBride, I think that's the only one, right, that we could look at, and even then, I think that maybe we're gonna look at some of the other tight ends and say no, but
Right.
he's
Even if we
gotta
like another
score.
tight end,
He's gotta score.
this is the one format where, like, tight end in the flex, in tight end
Okay,
premium
you're right.
with these guys, it's possible. So,
Then I think Trey Mc because I think for the rankings purposes, I think he's tight end 1 this week going up against the Panthers. So I'm thinking one touchdown at least, 2. That you've seen that they've tried it. I mean, it's been horrible to watch, but no touchdown all the way through week 16 is insane.
I'm so
Can't
in on the
complain.
anytime touchdown bets. I'm not saying that Christmas is canceled if he doesn't score a touchdown, but I'm just saying some of the presents might not be going under the tree.
My house, yeah,
They might
the
be
house
going
is
back.
gone.
No, put it this way. Some of the presents aren't getting wrapped until Trey McBride scores a touchdown this week, okay? So,
Oh, man.
that's how heavily invested I am
Yeah,
on
I
the McBride
agree.
touchdown, yeah. Take
Yeah,
half your money and put it on a McBride I mean, the conditions are perfect. And last
it
week,
is.
they ran that little shovel they were at the 1-yard line, they ran a shovel pass to him trying to get him that
Oh,
touchdown, and he
yep.
got stuffed by the Patriots at the 1-inch line.
The
So,
Cardinals have been so frustrating. So I think I like McBride there a lot.
yes, McBride.
I like
Uh,
Connor, but, like, not enough, I don't think. But shout out to
he's been
Connor.
so good, though, we have to put him in,
Yeah, shout out to
on
Jake
the
Fromm.
sheet, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Panthers?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
don't
Let's
I don't think shout out to the Panthers, though. They've done way better in this final stretch with
better.
Bryce Young. It's been so honestly, like, I don't think that means next season, Adam Thielen has been phenomenal since he's come back. I don't think it means next season that we just push everyone up our draft boards, but it's been nice to see him at least take that turn that they wanted him to.
Right. And when you just say no, it's great because then we can pop back into the chat. We have a couple extra minutes for the chat, right? So good.
Yeah.
No Panthers. Josh K saying the same thing most of the family already knows. Good to hear your voice along with Grumpy. It is a great dichotomy, I will say. Jerry saying the Texans would beat the Chiefs.
Ooh, I
Uh,
like that.
Greg says any day instead of Bender. I think that seems to be they all
Poor
love
Howard.
Bender.
We
That's
love Howard.
yes. Anthony Richardson or Aaron Rodgers. That's an
Oh,
interesting one.
I think I would still go, Anthony Richardson in that one.
Yeah. I would actually I'll say
Rodgers
this,
is nice
if
though.
it's 6-point passing If it's 6-point passing, then I might
Fair.
go Rodgers.
They're definitely close. I think
Yeah,
they're like 1 and 2 with Richard, and this is the tough part from the fantasy angle is we always like the rushing upside quarterback.
that's it.
So
That's it.
that
Yeah,
and it, sometimes for me I have to almost just like, that's been the same thing with Kyler Murray this season where I've just kept playing him because he's always inside the top 10, right outside because of the rushing upside. And what has it done for us this season? Not much. So I do like that. If you need more of the upside with a potential Anthony Richardson, touchdown, then maybe you go for Richardson. I think they're really close. I would go with him, but Aaron Rodgers is right behind him.
yeah. That's exactly how I feel in 4-point passing. You have to just go with the mobile guy.
Mhm.
In 6, you can consider it, but I think it's Richardson.
Yeah.
Uh, Bateman in a walking boot. Thank you for the update,
Oh,
Jerry.
thank you.
Josh saying he's just joking, but he could do Kendall and Coop shows. I mean, dude, I'm all for it. There it
Here we
is.
go.
Go A's.
There it
So
is.
so he's
Shout out,
dogging
Greg.
your ASU and
Honestly,
your
I love
man.
it, Greg. I love it.
Perfect. Started lad need to pick 2 between these Terry Jennings, Keenan Ridley. Full PPR.
Terry McLaurin, that's such a tough matchup too, but I think Juwan Jennings for sure here, and
Yeah.
then I don't
I'm out
necessarily.
on Ridley. You can get
Now
Ridley
I'm
out.
out on risk. So probably Terry and Jennings.
I think so
Keenan,
too.
Keenan's interesting with the Bears this week, but I don't know if I want to, try and rely on that total. I don't think. Oh, it's right there. 40. Is that 47? Oof.
Yeah. So the
I just don't
Bears
know if I want to rely on Caleb Williams.
right.
I don't know.
I'm with you. I have it ranked the same way.
Yeah.
I do like so the thing with the Lions play so much man to man that they almost have to throw it to Keenan over the middle. But
Hmm.
it's gonna be dink and dunk. Last time against he scored 2 touchdowns, but he had like 40 or 50 yards. So you got to go upside with Terry and Jennings. And I'm
I
willing to
agree.
excuse the Jennings game last week because it was a downpour, it was a washout.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that team. I mean, in general, that's been so brutal. So I'm hoping for a better game, and I think we get it this week with everyone on that team. So I like Terry Jennings.
Yes. Walker and Charles play. Do you play Walker or Spears?
I play Walker.
Agreed.
If Kenneth Walker is good to go, and if you have both, like I think you can't. I don't know if you want to risk it with Charbonnet. I know with the injury stuff, but I think if they say Kenneth Walker is good to go, he gets back to that full workload. So starting both would be a little bit messy.
Exactly. Now, if I was a good host, what I would have done, hypothetically, if I were to be a good host, when we were talking about Keenan Allen, I could have said, "That's a great segue into the next game here." Lions. So just to recap, everybody, if I were a good host, that's what I would have done. So since we were talking
He's a
about Keenan,
great host.
since we were talking about Keenan Allen mere moments ago,
Mere moments.
let's jump in. 47-point over under 6.5-point spread for the Lions. Uh, are we going to start a bear just first and foremost?
I don't think so. Like even DJ Moore is way down there in the rankings when you look at wide receivers. Like and listen, I am excited for the Bears long term. I think that Roma Dunze, all these guys could be good, but I just don't know if I want to hitch my wagon to the Bears in a week where we haven't seen them really uber perform. Keenan Allen's been, pretty solid actually, but I think we have better options here.
Right. The Lions are scary the way they play defense. The
Yeah.
only team in the league playing more than 50% of snaps in man to man, they literally just say our guys are better than your guys.
Yeah, and the
So,
only team in the league with, like, a CVS receipt of, like, players on IR right now. It's, like,
right.
16 defense it's
And they're
crazy the
still
injuries that
good.
they're
Yeah.
going for. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a real shame too, because I just like rooting for them.
Mhm.
They're not
Agree.
my team. Who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite NFL team?
My team is the Seahawks. So it's
Okay.
been an up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
down ride. I've gotten, watched them win a Super Bowl, got to another one. We don't need to talk about that. But yeah, it's up and down right now. We're kind of in a limbo with Gino, so we'll
Not
see what happens. But
not sure if you can see the stuff behind me, but I actually really enjoyed that Patriots.
yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did.
I really enjoyed that.
We don't
That
need to
one in
go there.
particular was good. But I was dude, you should have seen. I was up like skiing with my buddies, and we had this like cabin. When he picked that pass off, I jumped up and exploded this wicker
I'm
net.
sure.
Like the thing, dude, exploded. And then all of a sudden next week we get a message from the guy. He's like, "What happened to my basket?" I'm
You're like, "It was the Super Bowl. What do you
yeah, it was
mean?"
a rental. I was like,
You're
"Yeah,
like,
well,
Send me the bill."
I owe you a basket. Dude. Richard Sherman owes you a basket."
Oh,
But
man.
okay, on the Lions side, this is where it gets serious. I think, I mean,
Gibbs.
Should we just do it? I think
I
he's just
think
a super chalk.
lock him. He's going to be everywhere. I mean, and I said on a show the other day, if you have Jahmyr Gibbs, just ask for your winnings right now, because it's just like it just feels like that at least. And maybe
Right.
they go a different direction. Maybe they get a little bit cute because they're just trying some things out. But Jahmyr Gibbs and the volume that he's going to get without David Montgomery there is going to be insane.
Right.
Insane.
Exactly, and then the thing about it is that, like, they will use Craig Reynolds some, but there's no
Yeah,
individual thing that Craig Reynolds is better than Jahmyr Gibbs at. Like,
exactly.
there's no reason if there's a pass interference in the end zone, there's no reason to say, "Let's send Craig down to punch it in because he'll be better than Jahmyr Gibbs at that." It's not gonna happen, so
And if they do, they
that's
hate
always
us.
been
So
right, and maybe actually, with the Lions, maybe, right?
maybe they hate us.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah, that's
I
always been
think,
the problem with Monty is that he is better at that than Gibbs, but
yeah,
Craig Reynolds isn't, so
exactly. I think just a shout out to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know if he's like the guy, but he's a top 7 play this week. So
he has to be
always.
in. He has to be on
Yeah.
the sheet. Yeah,
Yeah.
out of
I
respect.
think that's it.
That's it, yeah. Vikings Seahawks here. Vikings favored by 3.
Hmm.
I think I picked your Seahawks to cover this weekend.
Okay. I respect
Yeah.
that.
I do like I picked the over as well. I think 42.5 feels low for this game. Does it not?
It does, but then it's a Seahawks, so I'm like, I don't know if Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are scoring, they could maybe get it there. The Seahawks just, yeah, the defense, especially against the Packers the last week in primetime, was just so brutal. So yeah, for the Vikings, I think you have to put J Jeff in there. Um
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Addison, like I like Addison as a play. He's obviously come on, but I don't think he's, good
We're
good
not gonna
enough
do it.
to put on that sheet. I think
We're not gonna do that.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Aaron Jones, maybe. I think
Maybe just a shout out.
Seahawks will end up 127 yards a game rushing. The one thing with the
Ugh.
Seahawks, the one interesting thing about this that when I was going through looking at it, and we would never do it in a format like this, but like the Vikings have oddly let like the third wide receiver on teams. The way they play has kind of set up the third wide receiver. Like Dontavian Wicks scored 2 touchdowns.
Mm,
Demarcus Robinson scored 2 touchdowns.
yeah,
Tyler Lockett's just been invisible though. He kind of took a big
I
back
know.
seat. Maybe
Every
this
every every year I say like, "Oh, he is severely undervalued in drafts because, the age and stuff," but I actually do think this was the year that it caught up to him,
right,
unfortunately, where I would always just draft him, not just because I'm a Seahawks fan, but, in fantasy formats, especially in basketball, like, you would just draft him, forget him, and he would come away with
right.
some pretty big games, but with the emergence of JSN, DK Metcalf kind of not doing DK Metcalf things right now, like, yeah, he's definitely taken a back seat.
Yeah, to your point on that, I think this will be the first year since DK Metcalf was drafted that Lockett will not have outperformed his ADP. So
Mm,
he's always been a value pick.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the change to Ryan Grubb and the 3 wide receivers, I think it kind of
Yeah.
definitely hurt him a bit. Is there anyone from the Seahawks we should consider
Do we
here?
put I mean, like, I understand JSN, so we can just shout him out here because I think it's fun. DK Metcalf has only 7 red zone targets this season, by the way. I mean,
Bonkers.
he's huge, and to be doing that and them in the red zone, Geno Smith, I think, has the most turnovers in the red zone this season, so it's been not good. I'm hoping this is a get right game. I know it's against the Vikings and their defense and Brian Flores, but I'm hoping for a higher scoring than what it's at right now.
Yeah, fully agree.
Yeah.
And JSN, I mean, he's a wide receiver, what, 7 in PPR? So of course he
Yeah,
has to go
he's
on the
been
sheet.
good. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gotta go on the sheet.
Yeah. Since we're trying to save time here, let's do the Jaguars Raider game in 1 minute. Name
Yeah.
name the only player from this game we would consider in a tight end
Is
premium
is
format.
there one? Is it, what, Brock Bowers? There we
Bingo.
go. I'm
All
like, "Is there
right.
one?" Like,
There
please.
just barely is one. Just tight end premium means yes.
True, yeah.
Next matchup here. See how quick we could
Look
get
at
through the
us,
show in
look at us.
if we did the show like that, we could get through it in 15 minutes. Right? 49ers Dolphins, very interesting one. Both these teams are like virtually eliminated from the playoffs. There's like a
Yeah,
5% chance for each team, both 6-8, but former coaches going against each other. Tua said no one's planning trips to Cabo here yet, so they're gonna play. All right, that's a quote.
thanks, Tua.
Thank you, Tua.
He's
So
so funny.
44.5, 1.5 point spread. Anybody on the 49ers?
It'd have to, for me, just be Kittle maybe, and then wide receiver, like, we're not going to Debo. Jawan Jennings we can put on there just to, like, feel good, right? But we're not playing Debo Samuel.
We're playing Kittle or we're playing nobody.
Yeah.
You nailed it the first
It's,
time.
like, no.
On the Waddle side, Dolphin side, Jalen Waddle now apparently doubtful for this week. So
Yeah, I saw that. So I think you have to put in Tyreek, even though last week was just awful. And then Achan and then Jonnu. Shout out to Jonnu, by the way. If you were able to pick him up off the waiver wire, you have been living life. You have had a set it and forget it kind of guy.
We have two kids. There's two Kittles now. It's the same scheme.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's a good. I like that.
It's the same scheme because they both teams use the fullback so much. There's no wide receiver 3, right? So it's like, Jonnu, Kittle, and shout out to the Dolphins. I just want to mention this. The Dolphins made an incredible play to sign this guy. Not only does he do exactly what they need him to do, but because he was released and he wasn't a free agent, he doesn't count against the comp pick formula.
Oh,
and they lost Christian Wilkins. Yes, they lost Christian Wilkins, all these guys. So he's not even affecting the comp picks. Like,
wow, that's pretty impressive.
That is just a great signing. So
yeah,
great job by them. Great job by me. I spelled Dolphins wrong.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, it's the new way. It's the new way.
You noticed that and you didn't say anything?
No, I would tell you. I would tell you.
Okay, because you do seem like somebody that would come up and be like,
come on.
Hey, you got stuff on your face, man.
Hey, just turn around a little bit. Hide your face.
Okay. Yeah, so the Dolphins versus 49ers. Before we move on, just with no analysis, who wins that game?
The Niners.
I think so too.
Yeah, the Niners.
Okay, next game here, Bills, Patriots. Patriots are looking to get shellacked here. So no Patriot, 16.25 implied point total. We can't go there. We got to have a Bill. So pick the winning Bill. This is the hardest part.
This is hard. Yeah, this is difficult.
It makes all the difference because you can only have one. And if we have the wrong one, then we lose.
Perfect. No pressure there at all. Because you have to put Josh in there just for fun. You know what though? I think you can skip the wide receivers. You don't need any of that. James Cook, and you're not going with Kincaid.
Cook or Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So we did have a question that involved the game. We don't have to. We're gonna make the lineup in a minute, so we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that bridge when we get there. Hawkinson, Kincaid, Pacheco, Watson, Kendre Miller in the flex.
Oh, that's so gross. And Danny, I'm right there with you too. I've had some of these. Hawkinson, Kincaid's out. I think, man, Pacheco is close to being out as well.
Is it Kendre Miller?
Is it Kendre Miller? That'd be so great. I think it's Miller if Kamara's out.
Agree.
I think
otherwise
that's where we go.
Otherwise, it's Hawkinson, right?
Yep.
I'm with you. Kincaid's been getting Kincaid's gotten like 6 targets in every game going back to week 5, but he's just not doing anything with it.
No, he's been awful. One of the biggest draft busts this year.
He's just kind of there. He's just kind of having laser beams bounced off of him. 5 feet away, just absolute lasers from Josh Allen.
It's true.
It's a tough gig. Dylan says, love the show. We love you guys hanging out. Thank you guys for popping in.
Great followers. I love it.
It's a holiday season. So, if you, we're doing a special deal today at Fantasy Alarm. If you want to support Fantasy Alarm, 50% off for all of 2025. That is easily the best deal we do all year, or it matches the Black Friday deal. So go to fantasyalarm.com/holiday. We've been kind of promoting that. This is bad hosting 101. We've been telling everyone to wait till Friday for this deal all week, and we're 50 minutes into the show. I'm just mentioning it. Right
no, you're great. You're great. We'll remind him.
Well, happy holidays, everybody. John and Pemba is going to be – I have a meeting with him right after this. Johnny, I apologize. I'll retweet it again after the show. So do that. But if you want to – that supports us, helps you. But if you want to support us for free, likes and subscribes on the show, man, that just means all the world. It's like a warm cup of hot chocolate in these holiday seasons. And you can give it to us for free. So we appreciate y'all. All right, let's get through these games real quick. We'll get to questions again if we have a chance. Last 2 games, 2 Monday night games. What did we do to get so lucky? Buccaneers, Cowboys, 48.5 point over under. Buccaneers favored.
Yeah, Bucks are interesting because I think we could go with Bucky Irving here if we wanted. Just shout out Bucky. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, obviously. Crazy the fall off that we've had with Kate Otten, so no one there. And then Cowboys, it's probably only CeeDee Lamb in that one. I
take
think.
your probably, and I'll upgrade
Just
that
say
to
yes.
a definitely.
Definitely. Shout out to Rico Dowdle, though. I mean, he is at least getting that,
Yeah, you
full
know
on
what?
workload, but,
He's going up
a
against
little
Vita
too
Vea
late.
in a tough run. Like,
Yeah.
you just can't run on the Vikings and the Bucks are 2 teams where it's like, you just throw against them. Like, just everyone knows what you have to do, so,
Mhm.
and the
Exactly.
last one here, Saints, Packers 28 point implied point total because they're massive favorites,
Yeah, no
so
kidding.
no Saints.
No Saints. Could you imagine if we said someone though? I think for the Packers, like even these wide receivers though, it might just be a Josh Jacobs thing. You can't trust, you don't know what if it's going to be, a Jaden Reed, a Christian Watson, a Romeo Dobbs game, in my opinion. So I'm just thinking you go with, yeah, Jacobs.
Jacobs. Yeah, he's got like 100 touchdowns this year, like over the
Yeah,
last like 4 weeks. Yeah.
yeah.
So the Packers, real quick, they're a 10-win football team. How many
Mhm.
targets do you think their top target getter has on a
Oh,
10-win football
probably
team?
not how many? Tell me. It's
60,
got to be.
65.
That's it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
I was gonna go even lower. I was gonna say 50.
yeah. I mean, it's not crazy though
No.
to suggest it because it's
No, they
like
just spread it out.
yeah. So good. Okay, let's put the lineup in, and then again,
Okay.
if we have time, we'll do questions.
Yeah.
Wow, look at the mad. What? Look at that. Great job by our producers on setting this whole
Oh,
thing up.
heck yeah. Look at
Yeah,
you.
excellent. Okay, so well, let's pull the. I know I switched it over, but let's just go through real quick. Grab one name right now that you're like that guy has to be in the line.
I think to me it has to be McBride. Like Trey
Ooh.
McBride at tight end, I feel like is the one there.
Are you
Just
trying to
because
butter me up because you know I'm a big tight end fan? Is that what you're doing
it's
here?
just, it's the Panthers. Like he has to be it. And then probably like do we go back to Josh Allen is facing the freaking Patriots. So if it's not
Hey,
him in my
easy,
I'm sorry. And the
easy.
team we picked no players from. Yeah, I think you know. I think
You're
you know.
not. Hey, you're not wrong, but you're out of line. Okay, you're not wrong.
Sorry to the Patriots fans, but I do think, Josh Allen is one that feels just right in that
Yes,
in
for
that
sure.
spot.
And it really solves a lot of the headaches with that team because now we
Exactly.
don't even have to think about Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
Good,
goodness.
and we don't have to think about a bunch of these quarterbacks either. So let's go
Yeah.
back through. It rules out Lamar Jackson, which that doesn't really help us much. Well, okay, we have to have a Raven.
Mm,
Flowers, Henry, Andrews.
probably if we, if we have to have a Raven, right? Henry, or
I,
would you
I
go Andrews? I think I would go Henry.
yeah, I go Henry because Andrews isn't really a good tight end premium player.
No.
He's a touchdown hawk.
Yeah. Yeah. Henry.
I know what's going on here.
Uh-oh.
Everyone, he's in. I know that the matchup's in here because I saw Lamar Jackson's name. Everybody get set up at ffpc.com. It works really well. Use promo code Coop. They'll give you $25 off when you deposit 35 or more. He's obviously here because Lamar Jackson.
I don't even see it
Wait,
on the screen, to be honest, because I'm
is
still
this
on
game
the.
not on this particular slate for some reason?
Well, this is the Saturday,
Oh, the
right?
Saturday game is not on here.
Oh.
Oh, that's great news. This is going to make us so much easier for us to pick these players. Okay, awesome. So no
I like that
Chiefs or
you and I are just
Texans.
like, "Oh,
Yeah, look at this. Ready?
look at us go."
Yeah, that's
Sad. All
that's
right, well,
that's awesome though. It's gonna make it so much easier to pick this lineup.
that's
Okay.
true.
Um, so for running backs, we need two.
Well, I
Chase
think
Gibbs, yeah. First Gibbs.
Gibbs. Yeah, Gibbs for sure, right?
Yeah. So FFPC didn't do anything wrong. I was the one that
No,
was screwing that up.
it's us. It's
Okay.
always us.
Yeah, it is. Gibbs in.
Gibbs. Yep.
Barkley?
Barkley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chalk.
let's just go with that's what this is. You know what I
Chalk.
mean?
Yeah.
So wide receivers, we have Jamar Chase, um, AJ Brown, who's a little banged up, Puka Adams. We're not going to use London, but out of respect,
No.
we
Respect.
can't use Amon St. Brown.
I think
Justin
it's
Jefferson.
Jamar for sure.
Yep, good.
In my opinion. And then honestly, between Puka and Jefferson, probably Jefferson though, with
But
how.
we can. So now we're into flexes. We have
Okay.
4 flexes.
Okay.
So we could use Puka as well.
All right. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So chalk. I love,
This is fun because you go
gotta
back and
do
you
what
look
you
at
gotta
it.
do.
Right. And we also gotta get this lineup in. We gotta get rocking. We're not gonna go 2 tight ends with Bowers, right?
Probably not.
No.
Unless you're looking at it and saying you really wanna do it, but
No, there's too many good games on this slate. Okay, so we
mhm.
have a Bill, Packer because the Packers are such heavy favorites, we should use Jacobs probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Because they're massive, massive favorites in that game. So we'll get Jacobs in.
Like it.
Let's see, who are the other high point total games? Uh, the the Falcons.
We can't. Don't make us do
I know, but they're huge favorites against the Giants, 10-point favorites.
it
Maybe
has
they just give Bijan the ball a million times.
Yeah, you know what? Bijan isn't about because if things really go wrong and it's not good with
All right, let's play this
Penix,
game. Bijan or CeeDee Lamb?
ugh, CD.
Okay, yeah, see, exactly.
Yeah.
Bijan or Mike Evans?
Ugh, gosh, Mike.
I know. Okay,
They wanna
Mike.
get him to 1,000. That's my thing is, like, I think it's just gonna be force fed the rest of the way, and they're just that game should be good too,
Right.
between the Bucks and the Cowboys.
Yes, I agree. Fully agree. Mike Evans or Devon Achane?
Achan. No, Evans.
Okay.
No, Evans. Sticking with
This
my
is
gut.
hard. This is hard. Uh, and then that is kind of the last meaningful question. So I think it's going
Okay.
to be, unless you want to do, I'll throw these last names out real quick. Tyreek Hill, Juwan Jennings, JSN,
No.
or Mike
Mike.
Evans.
No, I think it's Mike.
He's chasing a very important record.
He is.
All right. Defense. Let's just check the projected here. Falcons against the Giants
Okay.
or Colts Titans?
Yeah, let's
Falcons.
do Falcons.
Okay. And then we need a kicker. Looks like top kicker is Jake Moody. And I feel good about that.
Love it. Love it. Look at us.
Awesome. All right, we got you out of here on time. Here's the lineup real quick for everybody. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Josh Jacobs, Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, Trey McBride, Jake Moody, and the Falcons defense. What a team.
Love it.
I know you got to jump. Why don't you just plug something real quick and we'll get you out.
Yeah, no, at K Valenzuela 17. I appreciate everyone hanging out with us today. And then you all guys already know, like fantasylife.com. We've got the newsletter over there. We're actually launching, we just announced it today, guillotine leagues for the playoffs. So you can actually draft guillotine leagues if you guys are still, I know you are all still in the mood because we're sickos, but you can go draft teams for the playoffs, guillotineleagues.com. So we just launched that today. So you can go check it out at MB Fantasy Life on Twitter, has all the info. But it was so fun. Thank you, Andrew, for having me on. We got to do this again.
I'm penciling you in. One off-season show, one show on here. And if you guys have any shows and you need me as a guest, I'm always down. So just shoot me a DM. And again, if you have more questions, folks, call in SiriusXM. You guys are on bright and early. You're 8 to 10 or 9 to 10?
We're 8 to 10 Pacific time. And then on Sundays, it's 4 a.m. so 7 to 9 Eastern.
Okay, yes,
on Sundays.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you guys are 7 to 9. You can call in. Howard and I are 10 to 11, and then we'll be here on the YouTube channel 11 to noon. After my show, I jump on and do another hour because I'm a sicko.
That's
but we got to win these leagues. So thank you for joining, Kendall.